My name's Karen, and this is my fish out of water story. So in 1973, I think it was, my boyfriend Steve and I went to Mexico, and he wanted to drive his car down there, and it was an old beat up Volvo 122S, and everybody made jokes that we'd never even get out of town, but he was prepared. He'd borrowed some parts from his friend Mark, who taught him how to work on Volvos, and he felt all ready to handle anything. So we took off. We went down to Mexico. We had a wonderful time. We got as far as San Blas, and then it was time to head back because Steve had a job with the Forest Service that paid for his college. He fought fires in the summer, and he needed to get back by a certain date or they'd give the job away. And so we're driving back, and we get a little ways out of town, and the car starts overheating. So he gets out, realizes it's the water pump, and he says, "No problem, I have one in the trunk." So he throws in the new water pump, and we take off, and we get a little ways down the road, and it does it again. And now he's really concerned because there's something wrong with this water pump, and now we're shit out of luck. So there's a guy there selling birds, and there's really nothing around, and we don't know what we're going to do. And our friend that we met, Peter from Toronto, is driving by, and he pulls over, and Steve tells him the story, and they decided the best thing to do would be for me to go with Peter to Mazatlan and look for a water pump at a car dealership or body shop in Mazatlan, and he'll try to meet us there. So I don't want to leave him there. I feel scared about leaving him there. We don't have cell phones or anything, and we're going to meet at this place called the Shrimp Bucket, which is notoriously cheap in Mazatlan, I guess. Peter knew about it. So as we drive away, I'm waving goodbye, and I'm worried because this guy's, trying to sell Steve parrots, "Perrota, senor," and he's sadly waving, and I'm just hoping everything's going to work out. So as we are driving a ways, we come around the corner, and there's federales standing in the middle of the road with machine guns, and they make us get out of the car, and they proceed to tear the car apart, looking for drugs, I'm sure, because we were hippies. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, if something like this happens to Steve, I don't know what's going to happen. So had a big headache. We arrive in Mazatlan, and we drive from car dealership to body shops looking for Pumpty Aguas, and they don't even know what a Volvo is. So we're kind of wondering what's going to happen. But eventually Steve arrived at the Shrimp Bucket, and he had paid somebody to store the car and just hoped that it would be okay. And proceeds to tell me that he can't leave the country without the car, and I have to go to back to the States to pick up a water pump from a Volvo dealership, and have very little time to do it, and we don't have much money. So I end up taking this bus back to the States to, I think, Nogales, Arizona, and I get there late, and I know I have to save money, have money for the part, and to fly back. And so when I get to Nogales, I took all the crackers in the bus station and shoved them in my purse, thinking that would be my food for the next day or so. And I found a flop house that was just a few dollars, to spend the night, but it was pretty bad, and there were a lot of, pretty sketchy people, and a lot of veterans that had walkers, and some people, a lot of drinking and drugs, and I'm thinking, oh, great. So I get my room, I go up there, it's pretty bad, and I decide to go down to the lobby to watch some TV, and as I'm sitting there, somebody approached me, kind of asking me how much I charge, and I realized they think I'm a hooker, and I'm appalled, and I'm thinking, geez, I think I could do better than this place. So I go up the stairs to my room, and as I'm going up the stairs, I smell smoke, and I find a burning mop in a bucket. Somebody had thrown a cigarette in there, and I, stamp out the mop, and then I go to the lobby and tell the manager, there's a fire in the stairwell, and what had happened. And he said, well, he was really wasted, and he said, boys will be boys. So now I'm really scared that I'm going to die in this fire trap. So I call Steve, collect at the shrimp bucket and start to tell him what's happening. And he says, Karen, this is costing money. And he slams the phone down. And now I'm crying. And I call my sister Val and tell her the whole sad story. And she proceeds to calm me down. And I made it through the night. I got up super early, and there was a taxi strike. I remember that. And I had to just get a ride with somebody. I think they called them gypsy cabs then, but it was probably like Uber now. And he got me to the body shop and then to the airport. And I flew home back to Mazatlan, and Steve was waiting for me, and I'm sure he's going to just think I'm brilliant. You know, I've done all of this, and I succeeded in my mission. And he grabs the part and runs and jumps on a bus and goes down to that godforsaken place to fix the car. So I'm waiting at the shrimp bucket, and he manages to take care of it, and he fixes the car, and he drives up and he picks me up, and now we're on a mission to get home. And we start driving, and then he becomes very sick. He's got Montezuma's Revenge or parasites or something, and he's hallucinating. And so I'm driving, trying to get us back, you know, and we don't have any money. And he started to feel a little better as we were getting closer to home. And I was begging him, you know, to buy some food, but he said, no, we need it for gas. And so anyway, we finally got back, and Steve was telling the story to his friend Mark, you know, about the parts. And I remember too, when we got home, we had like $6 left. And I said, see, I could have gotten that bucket of chicken, damn it. But anyway, we survived, and I think I, you know, could miss a few meals. But he told his friend Mark about the parts, you know, and then Mark proceeded to say, oh, well, there were 2 boxes in the garage. You know, one had the good parts, the other one had the defective ones. And Steve obviously had helped himself to the defective parts and was quite upset that Mark didn't tell him there were 2 boxes. So that did put a little strain on their friendship. But that's my story about fish out of water. And I love Pivot. Thank you for this opportunity to tell stories. I love hearing everybody's stories. And everybody stay home and stay safe. And we'll all be able to get together again and tell our stories in person. So thank you. Bye-bye.